Hey guys, good afternoon. Alright, so my last video was like 15 minutes, which was way too long, so I had to cut off the last like 2 minutes of me talking. But last time we talked about parallel lines and transversals, so you should be watching this on Thursday, April 2nd. Second day of parallel lines and transversals. We talked about all the different vocab names. The two that you need to be careful with are the two supplementary, the consecutive interior angles and then the linear pair. Those are the only two that are supplementary. Everything else is congruent. And then we did a few of these problems. I want you to try the rest on the sheet. The answer keys will be posted. We did number 4. I was going to start number 3 and talk about how it looks very different than number 4. But that angle 4, 5, and 6 are all called corresponding angles. So we knew angle 5 is 82, so angle 4, angle 5, and angle 6 are all 82 because they're corresponding. And then we could easily find angle 10 because 5 and 10 are called consecutive interior. They're supplementary. So I did 180 minus 82 would give me 98 for angle 10. Anyways, try to fill in the rest of this one. They do get harder as the sheet goes on. So if you cannot do example 6, that's okay. The same goes for the next worksheet we're going to look at today, day 2 of parallel lines and transversals. I'm just going to do a few with you. This will be short. But the same goes. As you get towards the bottom and the back, they get more difficult. So if you can't do number 16 or something like that, do not worry. Especially if you're in my third block. You know, those are more honors questions. They're challenging. All right, starting at number 1, I want you to write the type of angles. So here on number 1, we have corresponding angles. So for corresponding angles, you're just going to set them equal to each other because they are congruent. Congruent means equal. And then you're going to add over your 2, and x equals 12. Please write in the directions, if you printed this out, that I also want you to list the vocab names. We'll say list angle names for each problem. Okay, let's jump to number 4. Number 4 is whenever they're right beside each other, they're called consecutive interior. We're talking about this angle and then 133 degrees. These are called consecutive interior or same side interior. So for those, they're supplementary, which means you add the two angles together and they equal 180 degrees. So this setup's a little different than what we did on number 1. And x equals positive 5. And again, consecutive interior is also called same side interior. Okay, so that's what you're doing with parallel lines and transversals. You're either setting them equal to each other or you're adding them together and setting them equal to 180 like on number 4. That's it. That's the difference. You got to figure out the names and if we add them together or we set them equal to each other. All right, jump down to number 5, our last one for today. This one has 2 variables, so obviously we're not going to try to look at these two together because this one has a y and this one has an x. So we're going to start with the alternate interior angles, and alternate interior angles are congruent. So the alternate interior angles, you set those equal to each other, and I'm going to start with these two because they both have x's. Again, I like to keep things positive if possible. So x equals 17. Now that I have that x is 17, we're going to have to look at what the y value could be. So there's a couple different ways to go about this. I think the first step, that's really all you can do. But now I'm going to use, let's use a linear pair. Let's use these two. This is called a linear pair. The angles that are right beside each other on a straight line. They're going to add up to 180. So if I plug in my 17 here, that's going to give me 105 degrees. So that means if it's on a straight line, this has to be 75 degrees because 105 plus 75 equals 180. A straight line adds up to 180. Linear pairs are supplementary. So then all you have to do is, let's write linear pair. We're using two different types of vocab here. So we're going to set the 5y plus 35 equal to 75. Subtract over your 35, divide by 5, and that's going to get me y equals positive 8. So with this one we have two different answers, 17 and 8. We could have used consecutive interior here. I could have plugged the 17 in here, which is still going to give me 105, and then I know that these are going to add up to 180, the consecutive interior. So if you had that down, consecutive interior, you still would get the same answer, but that's okay if you used that logic as well. All right, go ahead and give some of these a try. Remember to write the name for each one. Number 3.